I remember a house being here, that's all. I don't remember what it was. Come on, Mike. Off to your right here, it's can't see at the moment is Morrisonville coming in sight on the horizon. Over there, those fields are all empty. Those ramblers on a fairly typical hot, hazy summer day. Some sort I could picture. You remember because I used to come here in the summer. But as you came up this road, the first thing you saw was the barn on the left, and at my time that was red, belonged to Liz Burt's, and beyond it, the stucco house. And that was the sort of the outer limit of central Morrisonville, downtown Morrisonville. You got down here where we are, you were in the suburbs. This rambler belonging to the shoemaker didn't exist when I was a boy. Of course, you can tell from looking at it, it was built about 1950 or thereabouts, 1960 at that vintage. This was just open field. It was fenced in with corn or wheat. In those days, they grew a lot of wheat here. We come right up to the edge of Scott's place, which is the white building over there. Bessie Scott lived there, and she had 3 daughters, Helen, Frances, and Catherine. This is the Nykirks coming out, Liz Burt's old place, and they go to town a lot. They got a couple boys, and I think they get very bored in Morrisonville. Go to Lovettsville. It was always a treat when I got to go to Lovettsville. I knew we were going to go to Spring's store and I'd get an ice cream cone.
But you're still moving down that Spring's house.
Now the Scotts lived in this house. It was an all-female household at that time. The husband and father, and a man named Charlie Scott, had left. They were divorced, I guess, weren't they, Mimi? That was before my time.
I don't know. I didn't think they were divorced.
My time was 55 years ago, so that's a long time ago. Over on the left, this nice big stucco house belongs to Liz Burt's. Mimi's done all the research on that. She knows it belongs in the Leslie family. They own the land that we have a house on down there now. The time I was here, I remember Liz living more or less by herself. She was a rather unkempt-looking woman, more shapeless dresses, and went around barefooted. There's somebody greeting you. Mrs. Nykirk. Stone wall here, it's a wet stone. It used to be a dry wall. All of the stones at the top were loose. I almost got my finger pinched under one. It was a terrible crush. And my father and Ernest Ritchie treated it by taking a little pocket knife and drilling a hole in the middle of my fingernail, they said, to release the blood. Did it very slowly, just twirl that knife around and around and around. I think it was more illusion than anything else. I think they were probably kidding me. Since that happened, I was not quite 5 years old when that happened. That was right about here. One of these was right about here. No kidding. You have to ask me something to respond to.
Oh, you remember this pump?
Is that a pump?
Was this pump used by the people around, or just by Bessie Scott?
No, this is Scott's place. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember that pump being used. Car coming. I should point out that you get more automotive traffic through here in 5 minutes these days than we would have gotten in a full day when I was a kid. It was an event when a car came through now. It's a little turnpike. I remember this building. This is a dairy. Where are they all going?
A dairy?
This is a dairy and a spring house.
Mm-hmm.
And the water flows through there in the ditch. And you kept ice cream. You brought ice cream back from Morrisonville or watermelons. You put them down in that water, and it would chill the watermelon, keep the ice cream cold.
Where did the ditch go?
It's on. Oh, it's inside. You can't see it from out here.
Well, I wonder where the water went.
I don't know. The answer is I don't know. It was a great big frame building, and it was a general store. And that way up on the ground, and the steps were out here, big wide front steps, and you went up the steps, and you went on the porch, and you went into the sewer, which was the cavernous looking thing.
Who owned it?
I don't remember who owned that. I think Hickman owned it for a while. I think it was a Hickman building. But it was a huge building. It went way back. The main room was, I'm a boy, so my impressions tend to be grandiose, but it's a pretty big room. It's an old-fashioned wood counter across the front. And I remember once seeing a trial in here. Yeah, they used it for somebody was being tried for shooting somebody's bull. And the circuit judge came up and he sat behind the counter. And the lawyers arranged themselves out in front. That's the first trial I ever saw. This house here is a fairly new house. It's built, I guess, Irving built Howard and Helen Harrington. They lived there with Ruth Lee and Kenneth.
Would 1940 be a good
For this
date
house?
for that, yeah?
Oh no, this house is here when I was born.
Oh, that's right. Your father did a...
Shortly afterwards, so like I say, it's about 1920. That house is about the same age I am. And the store was on that site. It was on the site where this house is built.
You mean where the Harrington house is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Torpedoes and throw them against that stone wall. Of course, this road is much narrower than you think. It hardly looks like the place that I remember because of the paving the road. I remember coming here when I was a kid and there was a dirt road here. Yes, Uncle Irvy got this road paved. He thought it was really in favor of the town. What is this building here? This is where Annie lived. Annie was the only black person who lived in town.
Which one of these houses?
Both of these houses. Well, has always been all one house, so far as I know. And Annie occupied this. Of course, at that time there was much more vegetation here. There was trees and there was shade everywhere. Trees overhung this road. Annie had a big old rain barrel that stood on the corner right here, caught rain. I guess that's where she got a lot of her water from, for gardening and whatnot. And it was often full, and I was constantly being exhorted not to fall in the rain barrel. Advice I took.
How did Annie live here her entire life, or?
No, Annie, according to Aunt Sister, when I knew her, this area, which was in the late 20s and early 30s, Annie'd always lived here. But I later discovered from talking to Aunt Sister that Annie and her husband, who's named Gus, lived down there where that blue house is at the moment. It was a different house. They had an old house and lived down there when Aunt Sister was a girl, which would have been 1910, thereabouts. They sold that property. They sold a lot to Ernest Ritchie and moved over here. And Ernest Ritchie built that house that's now in blue. Well, that's where I lived when I was, my first memories of anything are of that house. And I remember that it was yellow in my day, not blue.
What about the house across the street?
Well, that's a new, that's basically a new structure built on the site of my grandmother's house.
The stones are all.
Ida Rebecca's place. The frame, the foundation outline is basically the same. But it's that house just built, we're now in 1985. I guess it was built last year, 83 and 84.
Except the stone part.
They kept some stone. Some of the stone at the end is from the old house, but when it was my grandmother's house, I believe this end of it, the wooden end, was log construction, wasn't it, Mike? It was half log and half of it was stone. And of course the yard, it doesn't look a thing like what I remember my grandmother's house looking like. The road was much narrower, so there was a long lawn, much longer lawn. And it was ditched. The road was lower. Something you have to remember about highway building. They always elevate highways, so we're talking of a sunken, a much
Rutted road.
well, it's just lower. You know, it was lower than it is. These houses were all much higher in relation to the road than they are now. You build a road, you come in and you elevate it, so that the house now looks low, but in fact, with the lie of the road in those days, it was much higher. So when you, from the road to the yard, there were 3 steps. You had to go up 3 steps to get from the road to the yard level. And she had a white picket fence all around it, and a gate. You went through the gate, and then you crossed her. You were up there, you crossed the lawn on flagstones, and you went up the porch from the middle. This place is put in side steps because they're so close to the road now. And they had great long stone steps that went up the middle, went up 3 or 4 again. So you were pretty high up at that time. Well, now it appears to be about 4 or 5 feet off the road. At that time, it was more like 8 feet off the road, I guess. They've raised this road so much.
And that was open, where they had a lot of sin in the front. It was open over there, wasn't it?
Well, one end was latticed in. The other end was open. There were steps that went down. You can see it better.
It wasn't built on the site, it was next to it.
Well, I don't know, you know. Obviously, the store went up there. But
It's such a big drop off here. I mean, this looks like it might have been a hill.
still, you know,
Yes.
I don't, you know, this wall, I don't remember this construction out here. My mother's garden came all the way out here. A vegetable garden.
Right here.
Yeah. It was all in the side yard here. And that's what we ate out of all winter. Grow vegetables and candy. Well, over here, the way this house was, porch is kind of all the way to the end of the building. Porch came out flush with the end of the building. Porch is much longer. And under this end, they didn't have stone porch doors, I would call them. There is still a door there. That was the entrance into their kitchen. You went down front steps, and there were basins under their tables, basins, soap, and water, and bucket. And when you came in the evening, that's where you washed. You go down over there and slop some water in the basin and wash up. Then you went into the kitchen and eat.
Where was the blacksmith shop?
That's over here where this massive weeds is at the moment. Up here, about where this driveway is. It sat at an angle. I mean, when it burned, the chicken coops sat over there. The chicken coops are in the weeds, and the blacksmith shop sat here. It sort of faced out toward the road. And the fire, when all that burned out, started the chicken coop, spread to the blacksmith shop, and almost burned the house. The problem was to save the house, the roof of the store. This was their backyard. There's a pear tree back here. I don't know what that tree is now, but it's more like a walnut tree. Some pear trees down there, it's still there.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that looks like a young pear. Young tree.
I think you find it's the same. And there's a pig pen in the back in the corner. Chicken coop is here. Outhouse down there. And over here he's burned the trash. Put the trash in about where those rubber tires are. And my father kept his car here, about where these people keep their car. Got a picture of Aunt Pat sitting on the running board. I think that picture's probably made right here. If you look at it, it's probably shooting up this way because it looks about like the building line of this house.
Well, I'll tell you, that shed back there in the corner looks like it's been there for...
It's been there a while. Car cuttings. There's a smokehouse there where they kept apples and fans. This was a lot of those buildings on this tiny building.
You can see that looks very like the bedroom guy. That's how you sort of get stuff like that.
No, his bedroom is on the other side. Goes back this way.
Do you remember if there was a building here of any kind?
No. I don't know what that building is. I don't know.
Where was the springs?
Could that have been our chicken house? It doesn't seem to me it was that far away from the house.
Car trunk?
Chickens? No. I have a chicken house.
So it was pigs.
Right.
Maybe somebody's using it.
Maybe whoever bought it was interested in finding out if there really was a spring.
I don't know how they keep it so clean. I never remember it being dirty like this. There's always clear water. See the bottom. Once in a while, you have to dig them out.
She said it had scraped it out.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the path was all open. I was going to go up these steps. The path obviously went right up here, right? Yeah. And this was a lovely bank. Overgrown violets, mosses, things, so you didn't do it.
It wasn't much, it wasn't very deep, no?
Well, for a small kid to fall in there could be troublesome. It's kind of tight. And you'd lean over with that bucket to dip the water out, right? And when you're only 4 or 5 years old or whatever, you could tumble right on in.
Looks like they're using a plastic.
Dipping water for some purpose, not for drinking. All of this back here, all the way down to this fence line, is an orchard. There's dozens of apple trees in there, regular apple orchard. All of them planted neatly in rows. And then it's a great playground. Play baseball in there, trees, bases. Small, baselines, 390 feet long. And nail up those old bushel sacks to trees and make tents.
What kind of orchard was it? Apple?
Apples, yeah. That's Uncle Ernie's place over there. That was like a long distance away at that time to do all those apple trees. Let's see, else I was born in, Alan. Somebody's using the spring for something.
You can see where their feet are wearing away the moss.
Here. Somebody used state property. You met people who thought they really had
Back up to the front of it. Is that the
car coming.
Is that the people's house down there?
Right here, behind the shed. Lean-to Vancouver lived there. He's famous for having the most interesting tombstone in the Union Cemetery in Morrisonville. Put it up for his son, who died drowned while in Army service. So he's got a picture of the boy set into the tombstone with his Army hat on. So sad. The sad thing is it's now fading and falling out.
Ben Cooper had a parrot, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He had a parrot. Say, Polly want a cracker. It always smelled like wood ashes. Bedroom. Go in there and the powerful smell of wood ash. It's in his fireplace. Down there on the level of the field.
Yeah, there are pictures down the side of the probably.
No, I see that they restored the original property line to my grandmother's thing.
Pie-shaped wood.
Baldwin had encroached all the way over to the side of the house. But in fact, when she owned the property, it always was on this line. Over next to Annie's house. And she had gardening there. We had flowers back in there. Well, I've got the family with me.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just talking a little bit. I'm
The girl
coming
that
back.
told me you were out of those leaves and I came out.
Well, I haven't been home for a little bit. I'm going to come back and stay now. I've been out there for about 5 or 6 weeks.
What
Yeah.
are you?
Well, I'm not feeling up to par, but I'm getting around with a walker and a cane and so forth and so on. Yeah. I'm going to make it go.
they have?
What happened? I fell to start with and worked my head open and broke my nose. Well, it wasn't too bad. They didn't have to do too much to it. It was right up under my glasses. But it took 13 stitches up across here.
You lose a lot of blood. It's scary.
And well, it's scary when you're by yourself, and that happened about 7 o'clock in the morning. So, I don't know what the outcome. I don't know. They have not decided what happened. They didn't know whether it had a slight stroke or whether it had a minor heart attack. And they put me through all kind of tests in Leesburg and Winchester. So I don't know. I'm struggling here, but I'm going to make it now. It's good to see you. Bless your heart. Yeah, me good. There's nothing wrong with that.
I came down for my birthday. Also, I want to check on the progress of my previous construction problems here.
Well, it's good to see you. Yes.
Do you know Alan or Alan?
I've
Hi,
met
yeah,
Alan,
we met
yes,
before.
But, you know, I don't see these boys long enough to keep up with them. How are you doing? Good?
Yeah.
How's he play? How's coming?
That's Michael.
Coming along.
Coming along. How about that?
Well, he's working now, that
He's
means,
working,
yes.
yeah. There's a lot of work going
Yeah,
on.
we do.
He's going to have a whole new house. You're doing the whole thing over.
Yeah, we thought we might as well do it right. So we don't have to worry about trying to get a plumber or trying to get an electrician later.
me, Miss, look at that. Of course, you'll get in and you'll need a plumber the next day, so it's going to break.
That's true, Ron. That's true. That's
Did you guys
true.
have new neighbors here? Silver place.
I think so. I'm saying, I don't know. It's supposed to be, so somebody needs to look at this. And this is, yeah, I came out yesterday and couldn't be here. They parked all up here somewhere, so I just went back. I didn't even try to get in.
We grew by yesterday. It's a big community family operation.
Did you come out yesterday?
Drove by yesterday.
Well, I came out, I couldn't come in yesterday, but they parked all up here, and I thought, well, if I struggle with a walker with all that going on, I might end up back down in the hospital. Yeah, when is your birthday, Rose? Well, I should know.
Next week, sometime. Was it Wednesday?
Wednesday. Russ is going to be 60.
No.
Yeah.
Get to be 60.
Yep.
Oh, to turn the clock back and be 60. How much that would be to you? How's the little one?
You're doing that. Good. Noisy.
Well,
Rambunctious.
well, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Have the rambunctious.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I could do with a little less rambunctious.
That's rambunction. Easy on that rambunction, child.
Now, listen here.
I'm
I'm glad to see you, bless
I'm
your
just
heart.
checking your door.
Well, that's
Good,
fine.
good to see you, Helen.
Take care, Helen.
We'll do. Stop by again.
I was going to come out. I was going to stop by Lovettsville actually.
Well, I'm in the back out there, but I expect out the back. I don't know. I'm going to have my steps carpeted in here. Because I've never had any steps, you know, and they're pretty clean.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, inside the fireplace inside.
Well, probably
Nice
just-
one. I met Ian Irving. Want to go down the list?
No, no.
They didn't have a two-car garage. They had a.
No.
There was a two-hole privy down here. Came down the walk. I guess there's still a stone walk on the back pillars. And it culminated in the most most marvelous outhouse in Morrisonville. 2 holes. 2 of you can go together and sit there side by side reading the catalog. Here's a mimosa tree. Maybe over there be
That's just a little mimosa.
it's got a lot of dead wood in the top too. Is there a mimosa? Blue spruce. That's what we should put up in Morrisonville. You like those blue spruces?
Really fond. Not really all that fond of evergreen.
Well, it's the winter. You know, you get some color in the winter. I love them in the winter.
Do you like the white pines?
More fun. Well, I tell you, the white time, it's not good for the dog.
They look okay.
I mean, they're used to that. They're just stunning in the winter.
You just get more of a feeling of country when you see the trees.
Maybe your thinking is in a rut.
This is the house you were born in?
This house, yeah. This was Uncle Irvy's house.
What room were you born in?
The upstairs bedroom on the left side. Or so I've been told. I don't remember.
You don't remember?
The only evidence you have of that kind of thing is hearsay.
What were you doing getting born over here?
My mother lived here. My mother and father lived here at the time. They had no money, so Uncle Irvy had taken them in. Uncle Irvy being his brother, oldest brother.
This the way you remember the house back in your time?
Well, the house is dilapidated now. No, it was very, Uncle Irvy, of course, was the swell of the neighborhood. Everything was sparkling and well kept, with fences upright. Always freshly painted, the trees pruned back. The house was, I remember the house being yellow. The yellow tape.
Did it have those wings on it? Of course, that inside is a stone house.
Yes, it had everything to the back.
On the side.
On the side, the little L's, the wing on the strut. The left there is new. That didn't exist then. I don't know when it was put on.
In the back.
There's a stone building back there. That's their dairy house. What do we call it? The
Greenhouse?
spring house.
That looks like
Do
stone.
you see this
over
tin roof that goes back there, Mike?
There,
That's the covering that goes back to the covers the spring house. We've got a chimney back in there, so obviously there's been radical revisions made in it since my time. But when I remember, that was a nice, cool spring house. And there was a kind of a shed covering, just like we have now. And a walkway over to the spring house, a few steps, and then you went down. There were steps down in there. And that's where Aunt Aura kept her cream, milk, and whatnot. Down in that water where they all did. Right now, Mike. Is that one of the Lesters? If we go down to Lester's, the children will come out and say, what do they say, Mimi?
Hit the road.
Hit the road.
Maybe they just say it at the front.
the other nice thing I like about this is that once you get past 30,000, pavement stop.
That's right. This road goes all the way to Aldi, doesn't it? Middleburg.
This road does?
It's a pretty road. Shall we walk back?
Isn't this the road you were walking up when your father was there?
Up here. But Kenneth and I go down here and fish in the creek all the time. The creek was much bigger in those days. No creek now.
I know, it's been down.
I mean, there was a real creek there.
There's a lot of been down.
Kenneth and I, there was deep spots where you might reasonably expect to see fish.
You should have seen the Atlantic Ocean in those days. First few minutes of this in artificial bulb light.
Yeah.
Rosé.
Or whatever it is, it's very thin.
We have those Americans.
They grow wild, and the leaves come up and disappear over there. They were up in May, and then they disappear in
At ours?
I did something about this.
The whole time, huh?
We'll have to come back when the weather gets, when the light gets better.
Well, this was watching it.
Yeah, it's interesting is